Good afternoon, I'm Ghost Williams, and welcome to Black Father.
Black Father, the mini-series, streaming every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. This mini-series is an attempt to bring more respect, more truth, more love and accountability into the home of the Black family and community. Black Father will help with a multitude of issues. Black Father, streaming every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. Black Father, the mini-series.
Good afternoon, welcome to Black Father episode 7, entitled, Are You an Active Father? This is a very important issue with a lot of us who, because we have so many things going on, might think you're being active in your child's life, but that might not be the way they see it. This afternoon, of course, we have Wiley G, and this is actually his show today. This is his topic, which I'm so thankful you came up with this. Good topic. We're going to get deep.
Yeah, it's a good topic.
And we also have a guest panelist today. We have my partner from way back, Claude Tucker. We affectionately call him Tuck. He is a mentor, a trainer, manager, entrepreneur. You name it, it's under his belt. But just to give you a little history on Tuck, when I first came to Marion County maybe 20 years ago, he was already doing what I foresaw myself doing as far as mentoring, counseling, being a big brother without the official title and with the official title. He's actually a legend here in Marion County, and I am thankful and honored to have him on the show with us. Tuck, thanks for coming.
Well, thank you guys for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
So we are just going to jump right into it today. The first subtopic for Are You an Active Father, Young Father, is how to improve the relationship between you and your child.
Mm-mm.
So this is something that seems simple, but in actuality, with the generational spaces that are in between what our kids listen and look at and love and what we grew up on, it's not as simple as it seems. So G, I'm gonna start with you as far as this goes. What do you think, how is it that we can throw ourselves into the interests of our children? Whether that be what they study, what they learn, their relationships, what their inspirations are. How do you do that with your sons?
Well, I think let me not skip over your question. I just want to say for every father, I believe that you should start with an assessment. Because everyone's situation is different.
Right.
You know,
Yes, sir.
how I father my involvement. For every father, I believe that to begin where you're asking, I think you have to really take a true assessment of where you stand with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
As far as existing relationship, ongoing relationship, previous relationship. So ultimately, I just really believe that you don't want to wait too late.
Don't wait too late, young father.
Yeah, don't wait too late. I know a lot of us fathers, like he was speaking about the age difference, the gap. I'm fairly young. I feel like I got a lot of life to still live.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some things that draw my attention. Sometimes get in the way of me being a little more active. And I can say that I still need work in those areas, but I just believe that we have to make sure overall we don't put ourselves in a place to have our kids where the resentment comes in because we're absent.
Right. So don't get in your own way.
Don't get in your own way. And be conscious of that. Our kids, our sons especially, they're looking for us to be, pushing them.
Amen. Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they look for that.
Now you said a key word, you just rolled over it.
I
Bring
did.
it back.
What was that?
Resentment.
Resentment.
Let's get into this.
Okay.
I know you know, and so you know,
Oh, yeah.
when it's a natural order for the son or the daughter to resent the mother or father because they see them in a place of authority.
Right.
So this is something common in every family. What have you found are some of the solutions to working with that resentment when you first receive it, either from your own children or some of the other young brothers that you've mentored out in the past?
You know what I teach and I preach to so many people is that you have to be able to love the person in the mirror first.
Yes.
So if you can't be true to the person in the mirror, how are you going to be true to anyone else? And I think that's the first step learning how to become a better father, how to become a better mentor, how to become a better person.
Say that again. Learning how to become a better father.
Yeah.
Say that
You know,
again.
because we all done stepped out and done some things.
Yes, we have.
You know, we ain't perfect.
Right.
You know, but once we learn to say, okay, I made this mistake, I need to go further, so the person is looking at me, see me, not an image of me, not what I want them to see, but I can be me 24/7.
Yes.
And that's changed the scene on every level. Because they know what they're getting day in and day out. And I think that's what we miss it so much, is that we up and we down and back, like what you were saying.
Consistency.
Yeah, we miss it.
Yeah.
And as parents, that's an important thing that we have never truly been taught, because as men, we was always taught to be strong. We always taught to be
Right.
head of the house and
Yeah.
this and that there. And as women, we was always taught to be this and we was taught to be that. But nobody ever taught us how to be us.
Right.
And that's important.
That's important. That's important. That's what people see on. For so many years, they better know me as Coach Tucker.
Yes.
When they seen Coach Tucker, they seen Coach Tucker every single day the same way. So now they respect not only Coach Tucker, but they respect the person that Coach Tucker is.
Right.
So, and that's what we have to do as parents. Our kids need to respect the person that we are, because most of the time they're not going to talk directly to us. But if they hear Mary Sue Alice down the street talking how good your daddy is, they going to want to get closer.
Right.
If they hear John Bo walking down the street talking about how belly father you have, they going to want to weigh in.
Right.
So sometimes you have to actually just focus on being who you're supposed to be, and then let that spread evolve.
Right.
I think that takes us a lot further.
Right. And to go along with that, we are able to, when we focus on it, take some of the emotion
Yes.
out of all the interactions, I should
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
You said never discipline your kids when you're angry. And I think that's beautiful.
Yes.
That's a beautiful
Very,
thing.
very good.
Make sure you're
Yes.
level-headed. Make sure you're in the right mind
Yes,
space
that's
before
right.
you discipline them or before you correct in a certain way.
Because you know what? They respond more to your tone than what you're saying.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, so your tone could create.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
you
fear.
know, right. That's right. Your tone. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And then, you know, us as men, we win way more conversations when we can control our tone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I
Most
mean? You know,
definitely.
that's right.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're gonna get a better outcome
Most definitely.
every time. We're gonna go further, and it's just received better. So you know, your tone really amounts to a lot when you're even engaging as far as discipline. When you catch them wrong, and you know they're wrong,
Yes.
you still have to adjust that
Yeah,
tone.
yes. You have to sit back and let it come to you.
You have to adjust it, because you don't never want to put them in a place to where they're afraid to talk with you, share anything, present something, something they know is wrong, but you still want them to have that space to be able to come and freely speak to you.
And that walks right into the next topic, which is, where is the line between being a father and being that friend? This is very interesting, because you have to be their friend in a way, but being a father is the more important role.
Right.
And we have so many young parents out here now, mothers included,
Yes.
that are their daughters' girlfriends
Yes,
and just letting them do anything, and they're missing the true focus of being a mother.
So can I say, I think where we're at, far as in time, that almost is kind of faded away. Because my dad, there was no friend. My dad, he died, he was 75 years old. There was no friend.
Yeah.
I was, in a sense, terrified of him. And
Amen.
me knowing what he was, what possibly do kept me, like I said, I'm never been in trouble. Not saying I haven't done stuff, but just me knowing and not wanting to disappoint him, embarrass him, all of those things really kept me inside of that box my whole journey, just being up under him. So, but the thing was, he never had that sweet spot.
Yeah.
There was no sweet spot there.
Which is one of the reasons for this show. One of the solutions we're trying to bring out, young father, is where we cross over the line to where your son or daughter is not so deathly afraid of you that there's no sweet spot. But you got a sweet spot that's small enough that it doesn't become, oh, I could just run over that.
Yeah.
Right. You know, we are not going for that.
You know, but see, and that's where we miss it so much at, because we should have a sweet spot, but it should be a controllable sweet spot.
Right.
You know, and okay, Johnny, me and you straight now, but when you get here, you're over the line.
And you're going to lose some stuff.
And you're going to lose some stuff. But if we don't set that up front, you know, we always say we want our children to have more than what we had. Okay? When do we stop?
Privileges, right?
And
We talking privilege?
We talking privileges, we talking things, we talking shoes, clothes, whatever it may be.
Correct.
You know, we want our children to be up there, so to say.
Correct.
So when we get to that point, when they get to that point, that's when you start losing things.
Right.
Okay? Now you don't love you to death, but I gotta do this because I gotta show you if you get to this spot,
Correct.
everything's not level. Everything's not right.
Right.
I need to set you back on tone. I need to get you back on track.
Right.
When I used to do life coaching, I used to always talk to the kids and talk to the parents first. The parent first. And I tell the parent, if this child tell me anything that's not going to hurt themselves, hurt someone else, or be, you know, just totally out of line, it's between me and them.
Right.
And then I tell the student the same thing. But what I was doing is I was building that bond and I was building that sweet spot between both of them. You see?
Yes.
So when you build that bond and you build that sweet spot, that means now me and you can have a conversation.
Right.
And it's going to stay right here unless you finna go over here with it.
Correct.
So I set a boundary by doing that. So in the process of setting that boundary and letting the parents see that that boundary works, I'm showing the parent how to set a boundary of their own.
Yes.
So you see how you have to make that wheel spin
Yes, sir.
in a big picture to get things to happen. You know?
Right.
And then so now when you're doing that, guess what happened? You have a better connection. And most of the time you find out that the same problem that little Johnny think he has ain't the same problem the parent think they got.
Right.
It's a communication thing.
Right now.
I got my thing, my idea, you got your idea, so how can we get to the middle so we both can work with this? That helps build that sweet spot and take it away.
Right.
That is
I
fantastic.
agree.
We are going to take our first intermission here on Black Father, episode 7, and we'll be back in 1 minute. Black Father, streaming every Sunday on Facebook Live at 2 p.m. Black Father, this mini-series is an attempt to bring more respect, more truth, more love, and accountability into the Black family as well as our community. Black Father will help with the multitude of issues. Black Father, streaming every Sunday on Facebook Live at 2 p.m.
You want to change your life, increase your faith. Ghost House, taking it to the next level.
Yeah. Times are getting so hard. Had to get my life straight and take care of my daily. Gotta keep praying daily. These times are getting so hard. Had to get my life straight. I just can't let life go. Gotta stay around to see my kids grow.
To the one whose heart I crushed, the stains of our pain are still evident in your life.
So paranoid. I guess I'm in love, I suppose. Have you ever been in love? If you have one, you'll never know why.
Welcome back to Black Father, episode 7. We are discussing the role of an active Black father here in your home and in the community. The subtopics we were actually leaving off with had to do with the interaction of consistency. Tuck was telling us that it's more important to be yourself consistently everywhere. Know who you are and be yourself And as that person is continually improving and being better, people in the community as well as your own family, even in the home, they want to be more of a likeness of your own. And he's saying it's not just a likeness with him, it's really who he is, and I know this to be true. The second subtopic too we're gonna be getting to now, and y'all gonna love this.
Come on with it.
How spiritual wickedness influences society to create these deeper gaps between the two generations that we were talking about last segment. Now I'm talking about this generation having the social media. I got a couple kids, they don't even watch TV. They just got their phone or their tablet.
Exactly.
That's it. Me, if I'm watching a game or something, you know, where the remote at?
Yeah, right, exactly.
But the wickedness has used this gap to be able to infiltrate and put stuff into the children that we out here just watching TV, seeing the news, sometimes working the regular jobs, taking care of business. We don't see everything that's going on TikTok, on YouTube, on Snapchat.
Yeah.
So this is another request, young father, for you to get closer, integrate yourself into your children's life, integrate them into your life a little more. They should have one day a week where they go to work with you or go to volunteer with you. This type of thing is just imperative.
Yeah. I believe this is why being absent is so damaging. It's very damaging because there are days where your kid needs to talk to you. There are some days you're just going to pick up on their energy and you need to be in place to ask them what's going on. Certain messages coming from the school. Like me, I'm working to get better. I've gotten better with my time, but there have been times where certain disciplines need to happen in real time.
Real time.
Right there on the spot.
That's right.
Yes.
Forget all that cooling off sometimes.
Right.
We need to handle this in real time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Time gone for that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because real time is going to allow, because everybody's memory is not perfect. So you want to make sure you try to get this stuff in but like I say, being absent, black father, we want to make sure that if your kid is not in the same household, should be definitely a morning phone call, or evening phone call, a few times a week. If you can pull up, and ask the uncomfortable questions.
Right.
Because in your absence, there are uncomfortable things that actually happen. And your temperament versus what mom's going to tell him, it could be the difference between some type of corporal punishment, his life, all kind of decision making. So you being the father, having a better judgment, not dealing so much from emotion, your absence is way more damaging.
And this is where the wickedness comes in.
Yes, exactly.
And just to piggyback and follow up on that, you have to create. You have to be creative sometimes. As a father, as a parent, you have to create things to actually make them want to talk to you.
Right.
For instance, we had to take my 3 grandsons in for a while, and when we first took them in, they didn't talk much. They didn't want to do nothing. They just had their phones, and he had to tell me what a TikTok. I thought they were talking about the clock. I don't know, So what had happened was I had to start doing things and creating things. So what I did is I used to always call them gentlemen. I said, "Come on, gentlemen, let's go. You gentlemen need to do this here." What I did is I got them used to being called something positive instead of something negative. And when they came in the door every day, that when I was there, I would say, "Gentlemen, how was y'all day? What went on?" Just to give them the opening. So now they come to me when I walk in the door. They stand up and say, "Granddad, how was your day? You had a good day?"
Yes, sir.
So what happened was I showed them how to reverse all this negative to be positive. So what you have to do sometimes as a father, you have to be creative. I know it's very hard sometimes, but that goes right back to what we was talking about in the first time. Find out who you are, and then you can help somebody else be what they need to be.
And that's part of the journey right there.
Yeah.
Now, the show is not so much of a religious-based show, but because I know you to be a fantastic man of God and minister, I remember the scripture saying, "Raise up a child in the way they should go, and when they get old, they shall not depart." Certain things in certain books have a fantastic meaning for the right now of raising a child. And when I tell you that spiritual wickedness is in attempting to put a gap in between us and the youth, it's not just attempting, it's succeeding in a certain sense. But what you say is exactly right. We reverse that first with the word of mouth, then with living it, and then it becomes reality. So a couple of things I had jotted down was, young father, what you want to do to bridge this gap is don't be afraid to go on a spiritual journey with your daughter, with your son, with your kids. And when I say spiritual journey, this means in whatever choice you choose, whether you be with the surahs on the Holy Quran, if you're in the scriptures, or the Torah, Talmud, with on the Christian side, even if a Buddhist. But a spiritual journey meaning let's research and see what we really find, what's really meaningful and works in a spiritual way for us, and we can also align it with truth and improving that positive energy, that great spirit that goes along with having
creating a good family brand.
But you know what you're creating more than anything? You're creating a foundation
for the family brand.
Yes. Because once you go on this spiritual journey, now your son is not afraid to pray with you.
Exactly.
And y'all both know what direction and what this means. So now you can take turn. He can lead the prayer. You can lead the prayer.
Right.
These are things that can bridge that gap that spiritual wickedness is trying to put in between you and your seeds. When you walk in the door, they just all on the phone. Okay, Dad.
Yeah.
See what he said?
Right.
How was your day? See, he's changed the whole dynamic in his household.
Yes.
And you know this show is about solutions, so this is exactly what we're on.
Right.
And I think more than anything that spiritual journey is a very, very important journey.
Yes.
Because once again, we all came from somewhere.
Right.
And if we learn a good spiritual journey, okay, the Bible speak of forgiveness. The Bible speak of casting all your cares away. Right. All your sins and everything's been deleted. I mean, and I'm just paraphrasing, I'm just trying to make a point here. If you believe in that and learn that and teach your kids that, guess how much more ahead your kids will be in life.
Right.
You know, instead of jumping on little Johnny because he called him a bad word, he'll think about, well, I need to forgive him. He don't know what he did.
Right.
You know, I mean, so it helps them in a bigger picture away from you.
Yes.
Because now they got a well-rounded life.
And this is something I've been waiting to attack. Come on, brother.
So, and back to what you're really asking, I believe because we have so much, so many images of black men that when you see a video with a black man with a gun, that gun is for another black man. So we have to really combat the imagery.
Yes.
The best we can. That's right.
Yeah.
Because what they seeing is 90-something% of the time they're always seeing a black man looking to do harm to another black man.
Yes.
So regardless of, we're always having to combat all of the things that they're seeing in the course of a day, in the course of a week, in the course of a month.
Right.
And we don't touch on it as much as we may need to. But the imagery that they're seeing of the black man, we have to try to do as much as we can to combat some of that stuff.
And this is in every place.
This is every place, right?
Including the church,
right?
Exactly. Every place.
Right,
See, and that's why it's important that we get them a good foundation.
Right.
Because that good foundation teach you that you love your neighbor.
Like yourself.
You know, you love this and you love that. But more important I think that we need to teach our kids is that if you love a person, whatever that person loves, if you love it too, that means you're showing that love.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to show that love. And showing that love is more important to anybody. You know, they say give you your flowers while you're living.
While you're living.
You know? So if we teach them that, they'll be more standbashes, for lack of any other word, to grab a gun.
Right.
You know, they want to shoot. For a period of time, and I still say it, I don't buy guns and stuff, water guns or any kind of guns for my grandkids.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Okay? If you pick up a gun, you're going to pick it up down there, but I'm going to teach you why we don't need a gun. I understand how life is and you got to have for protection and this. That's all good and dandy. Okay? But if you don't put yourself in that predicament, or you don't put yourself in that situation,
Right.
why do you need it?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
I mean, you have these certain people that's gonna do what they do, but I'm just saying, if we teach each other how to live properly, then we can go further.
And this is relative. Let me jump in with you, Tuck, because I've been waiting to attack this point. The fact of what he's saying and what we're saying on a spiritual level, and about how the imagery has to change in every place in society, brings us to this. If you have a young man, and let's say you're taking him to church with you, or he's getting a good grasp on, let's say we're going to use Christianity in the Bible. He's getting a pretty good feel for the scriptures because he sees the way you live. He's not going to be so apt, if you take him on these spiritual journeys, to be mad at somebody because they're not studying the same thing. If you live in Brooklyn, like our producer Peaks knows, you might have 8 different religions on one block. You have to be able to get along with people, even if you don't agree with them about a particular thing, whether they be Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, Black Israelite, anything. If you're able to share your views of your faith or your education or your experiences, these are the type of young men we need to raise.
Exactly.
These are the type of young women we're after raising. Not just, if it is not right here, it's not right. This is not the society you can live that in. Because we got plenty of people that think there is no God.
Exactly.
Now, I'm not mad at them, but we have to be able to communicate with them as well.
And then
level.
some type of harmony with them at that.
Exactly. Because they also have children.
Right.
So even if these children of the agnostics come on and go through a spiritual journey, that's up to that child to decide if he agrees with Father or not. But you give them the opportunity to respect all life.
See, and that's why the word say, don't judge unless you be judged.
Yeah,
Right? Nobody like to be judged.
That's right.
So if you don't like to be judged, why am I going to judge you?
No.
Yes.
Why I'm going to call you another name?
Right.
I don't want to be called a name.
Yeah.
And see, and that's what we have to teach. And we definitely have to teach the young fathers this, because right now, we have so many young fathers that grew up without a father.
And don't know who they are.
They don't know, you're right, they don't know who they are. So they don't have that foundation. And at one time I used to try to get as many fathers together and just have a conversation, open flow, talk. And you will find out in a general conversation like that everyone pretty much has the same problems. They just don't have nobody to talk to them about.
Right.
We are actually bringing that back. Tuck had a fantastic idea when I called and asked him to come on to the show. Peaks has been trying to get us to the point where we can answer the lives here while we do the show. And what we came up with is we're going to have a meeting, a father's meeting every Monday, 6 p.m. right here in the building, where we can ask questions from the shows or just get some ideas upon help or direction and guidance as far as, a few of us that have done halfway decent and are still learning, because we're growing the whole time. But every 6 p.m. here, 3001 West Silver Springs Boulevard, Ocala, Florida, building 400, 6 p.m. every Monday, we are going to do this symposium, if you will. Tuck and I will be here from time to time. Brian, Counselor Damon will be here sometimes. Wiley G will be here, but we're always going to have some resources and an influx of information and helpful history, facts, and anything else you want to know. We'll get right to it, because each of us can only pass on the knowledge or information or experiences that we've been given or gone through. So we are here to share all positivity with you, young father, and the mothers can come too. But I just want you to know it's really important for the males to step up and find their place, because the women have had and still have so much more pressure on their backs, because a lot of us haven't been doing what we're supposed to do.
Stepping up. And if I may add, guys, we have to realize that there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Right.
Or a wrong answer.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So bring your questions and get your answers.
And come on down. Every 6 p.m. on Mondays, we're going to start doing this. We're going to go to our second intermission with that point here on Black Father episode 7, and we'll be back in 1 or 2 minutes.
Save me from my misery. See your angels down to me. face one day, though it may take a while. One day I'll see you smile. One day things will change. Tears will appear in my eyes. I know you live in the sky.
Black Father, streaming every Sunday on Facebook Live at 2 p.m. Black Father, this mini-series is an attempt to bring more respect, more truth, more love, and accountability into the Black family as well as our community. Black Father will help with the multitude of issues. Black Father, streaming every Sunday on Facebook Live at 2 p.m.
To the one whose heart I crushed, the stains of our pain are still evident in your life.
I'm so paranoid. I guess I'm in love, I suppose. Have you ever been in love? If you haven't, you'll never know why.
Welcome back to Black Father, episode 7, being an active Black father. We are headed to the third subtopic here, and it comes from Counselor Damon. By the way, shout out to Brian. He has some things going on family-wise and health-wise where our prayers are with him, but he still is doing his due diligence and sent in subtopic 3. My brother. So, Counselor Damon says, how can you restructure a non-active relationship with your children, and whose responsibility is it to rebuild it?
That's a good question.
It is.
Yeah,
That
but you
is.
know, honestly, to me, done dance. If when I'm right now, I'm singing to the choir. If somebody was trying to tell me about it.
Me too.
You have to take ownership that it's not right,
Mm.
and you as the parent need to step up. I can understand we done everything we're supposed to do for our child, but they still ours.
Right.
You know, I don't care how old they get or how young they are, they still ours. And anything that you control or you say is yours, you want the best for it.
Mm.
So if I'm not in your life, how can I give you the best?
Mm.
If I don't make that effort, now I'm not saying it's gonna always work, but at least step forth to make that effort.
Right.
And then go from there.
Right. Make the effort.
Make that effort, because see, you know, if you change a few minds, behavior change too.
Right. Mm. Yes.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the responsibility, G, now a lot of us, because we old school, we just gonna immediately say, oh, it's on us. But some of us have had some relationship where the father, our own fathers, have been distant in what we had to do. Now we the kids, we still had to reach out.
Yeah.
So it's both of their responsibility, don't you think?
Well, I've always known that being the bigger person isn't always comfortable.
Say that again. Say that again.
It's not. It
Being the bigger person is
yeah.
not always
No,
comfortable.
it just don't work all the time.
And it's not. You have to embrace it.
Right.
You know, you embrace being the bigger person.
Mm.
You get used to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
And
Becomes the
as
example.
we spoke on resentment earlier,
Mm-hmm.
so the fear of the resentment could prevent that conversation.
Mm.
But in the process of fixing what's already broken or may have been broken or disturbed, the force creates resistance.
Yeah.
So you don't want to force anything.
Mm.
Initial conversation may be forced. You're right. You know, it may be forced, but I believe being the bigger person, and just being a good listener could get you in the
There's a lot
door.
of places.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Hearing all the things that
Yeah.
you're terrified to hear.
Yeah.
What's had you scared to even have the conversation.
Exactly.
Knowing that you're gonna go in there and get your feelings beat up.
Yeah.
You know?
Big time.
That's right.
Yeah, big time.
Being ready. You know,
You ready
so
to take your handkerchief with you.
being
Wipe
a
your
big
tie.
person and knowing you finna get beat
You're
up.
finna get beat up.
That's right.
But you know, that goes back to what we was talking about earlier. If you learn to love that person in the mirror and be truthful to that person in the mirror, you'll realize that this happened because some of the things that you did.
That you did.
So if you're gonna do anything, you need to step in and at least apologize for what you did.
Yes.
So that opened the door. Listen, I'm not right. I'm not perfect, but I know I didn't get this right.
Mm-hmm.
So let me at this time apologize for that.
Right.
You're clean now. I did
Kinda.
Yeah, but you know,
Yeah.
go ahead and beat me up. I got my towel. I'm finna wipe a few tears, but at least let me do my part,
Right.
Mhm.
and then go from there.
Right.
Now, at the same time, this comes with a level of balance. Those of you who know me know I believe everything in the universe is balance, and for everything there's an opposite. For what Tuck is saying, I have seen and experienced some of these young men take our own guilt for not doing something right in a fatherly way and twist the knife.
And twist the knife.
Yeah.
But you know what comes back to me? You remember the young man that me and you talked to in front of the shop?
Yes.
Okay, we
Yes.
talked to this young man for a good half hour or so, maybe even
maybe
longer.
an hour.
Yeah, and maybe a week later or so, he came back
Mhm.
to talk to Ghost.
Yes.
But he was talking on a different level than what we talked about. But as soon as Ghost made him realize that me and him talked to him, what did he do, Ghost?
Turned everything around, and it was just amazing. Broke down crying.
Yeah.
Like that. It's funny you bring that back to my memory.
Yeah.
Because I ain't
Because
completely
some people
forgot.
are dying for that stuff.
Exactly,
man.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the effort. I mean, I wasn't even there when Ghost told me. I went and got in my car and I wanted to jerk a few tears.
Right.
Just because we was able to touch that young man's life in such a
Turned
way
his life around.
that when he came back to trying to play his old games and is doing things his old way, Ghost made him remember that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And boom, he broke down right there on the spot.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that shows you the power collectively that we as men can have
Amen.
when we're on the same accord.
Mhm.
When that positive energy is flowing
Mhm.
and it's going. Two of the servants can get 10 times done as much as any of the wickedness can put out there over and over.
Mhm.
So
I just want to say there is what I told my oldest too, like I always tell them about getting in trouble and ruining your name
Yes.
before you actually get a chance to do what's in your heart and what you're here to do.
yes.
So I always try to remind them that, man, that thought went everywhere. It's a matter of just keeping in mind that
Everything you do comes back
Come
around.
back.
it does. I lost that train of thought because I went to get
Come
deep
back.
there. Yeah.
See you rolling.
I'm telling this stuff. No, so what I was gonna say was, it's like, as a young man, you always had that day, you always had that morning where you wake up and you want to do right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like from this day on, I want to do right.
Yeah.
I want to be a man. You know what? I actually admire those men now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't admire the rap guy or the
Yeah. Yeah.
like I actually admire those men that I know they're men.
Right.
You know, my dad had real men around him to do that. Toothpick in the mouth, hang one of them out the window, and then trouble every time. You know, and this all they got to do.
Yeah, that's it.
Man, I admire that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's, those type of things, like even with young men, you're all going to reach that point.
Mm-hmm.
Your young sons will reach that point to where they're going to want to admire someone who's reputable,
Mm-hmm.
someone that, like, we know what you stand on.
Yes.
You're him every time we see you.
Right.
So we always want to make sure that we're holding, that part of what we can hold up very high, because they're impressionable, and they're impressionable.
That's the
and
word.
we always get
That's
to
the
that
key.
point in our life to where we do want to do the right thing.
And little things mean a lot.
Yes.
So if you have a son or a daughter, young father, and he brings a friend around, boy or girl,
Mhm.
vice versa, you got a daughter, she bring another girlfriend around, or a boy, and he's really just a friend.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with you, young father, complimenting that friend in front of your daughter.
Amen.
Complimenting your son in front of that young man. Because it teaches them,
Yes.
oh man, I love those shades on you. It looks like you're working out a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
How's your speed coming?
Mm-hmm.
Anything.
Anything.
Find something to compliment them on, and then
Bring
the
the conversation,
inspiration,
yes.
it becomes habit, and they begin to inspire each other.
That's right.
These are solutions, little small
Those
things,
small things.
because we are humans, so we're gonna have habits.
And you know, a lot of times when I see young men just walking down the street or anything, or up by the store, I ask them, I say, man, you play ball? Man, like you be a good linebacker. You know, what I'm doing is I'm generating a conversation. And he said, no. I said, well, why you not playing ball? You know, you don't like ball? What do you like? So after a while, you done straight up a conversation with a young man, and he done forgot whatever he was finna go do.
Right.
Because a lot of times when they're out just walking around, the mind, the enemy play tricks on the mind, not just on young men, but on people, period.
Right.
So if you can break that train of thought with something positive just for that much time, you just stop that person from going and doing anything other than what should be right.
Right.
Because now they finna go home and tell me, hey, Coach Tuck said I look like a good ball player.
Yeah, I might need to see what
So he just, you know, it helps us, but we have to always remember that we are always being watched.
Always.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
Good, bad, indifference.
Yes.
Somebody's always watching you. It may be a car just going down the street. How many times you been riding down the street and you just looked over and you seen the person standing over there?
Just watching.
Just watching. You know, at the red lights, you watching the cars go by, you watching the people in the cars.
Right.
So if we take on that total responsibility for who we are and teaching it to the people it needs to be taught, we'll never fail. We can make this thing grow.
Yes.
And if we can make this thing grow, this is what this is all about.
Yes.
This is not about us three. It's about taking what they were saying earlier and putting it out there so everyone can grow from it.
Yes.
Because you're only good as the knowledge that you pass on.
That's right.
You know, if you got a whole bunch of knowledge and you're doing this with it, what good is it?
Useless.
You know?
Yes, and that has a lot to do with what the show is about. It's really just the beginning, but at the same time, it gives us a few minutes to be able to put some things out that really helped us, that we've seen God really help others through us with. So with that being said, I want to say, not tomorrow for what we were talking about, the meeting on Monday. It'll be August 7th, the first one here at Black Fridays for the Black Fathers Information and Resource meeting, I'm gonna call it. But we're gonna come together and share some positive energy, some resources, some solutions, and actually have a couple of laughs and just kind of rub elbows a little bit. And we don't do this enough as black males, unless it's something we I don't even have to say. Some nonsense going on. Black nonsense. We right there. But you said, what about my son? No. We want to come together on something positive. So here at Black Fridays, 3001 West Silver Springs Boulevard in Ocala, Florida, building 400. And don't forget also, while I'm thinking about this before we go, click on YouTube, Ghost Williams channel. It's Ghost with 2 T's. And either subscribe or like. We'll have all the produced shows here on that YouTube. So in conclusion, I want to bring one more thing to the forefront with you two gentlemen here. And you touched on this already as far as the imagery. I need some ways in which we change the way our young people look forward to gathering. Let me say that again. I need some ways in which we change the way our young people are used to gathering. So, with that being said, I know they'll come out to a concert. I know they'll come out to a car show. I know they'll come out to a free outside benefit, free food being given away. I want us to come up with some solutions that get us together in a positive way that are not the norm. Now, I'm not going to put y'all on the spot right now, but I want us to think about that. In each one of these meetings we have, whoever's there, we're going to come up with some of these solutions. Now, come on, bro, because I see something tickling your head right here.
No, I know we're about to wrap it up, but I just wanted to throw something out to our viewers, our fathers, something that's just on my spirit to say is that keep in mind that our legacy is tied to our family brand, guys. Family brand is important. to pass something down, to inherit something,
Yes.
to be a part of a reputable family with a reputable last name, to be married into one. I really believe, I know we didn't speak on it today, but as much as you can, you guys try to create a good family brand and maintain one if you come from a good family.
Amen. Amen.
Don't destroy it.
Don't destroy it.
Teach your kids the importance of it. Family reunions, family gatherings, Sunday dinners, all of that stuff is important.
Not just at a funeral.
Not
just at a wedding.
It's not.
Yes.
So teach your kids, or just be the continuing example of what you represent, and outside of your watch, how they should represent and uphold your name.
Right.
And the family brand. I think that's important.
And you got to teach the sons, young father, that they are responsible for carrying on the family when it comes to example of tradition, things you should do, examples that are set, work ethic, consistency, punctuality, respect,
everything.
There are two things, young father, that have come against us as a community. Number one is the black male missing from the family. Now, it's a bunch of reasons that exist, and we've gone on to a bunch of them, but that's number one. Guess what number two is? We do not support each other financially. Black finance and business is centuries behind where it should be.
That's right.
So these two things, we have to attack them, and that's part of what this show is for.
Yes.
Tuck, you got anything you want to
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that family brand up, because when I was small, Tuck taught us the most important thing that we had was Tuck.
The name.
You know what I'm saying? That was Tuck.
Yeah.
And you had to live, breathe, eat as a Tuck. All right?
And now we all call him Tuck. He's talking about his daddy.
Yeah, period.
Yes.
And you know, and that brings us back to find out who you are. So you can teach them that name is your brand.
That's right.
That name is what goes out in front of you.
Right.
Say it again.
You know, it's what brings people close to you.
That's right.
You know, hey man, that's tough.
And
They
let
can
me
either open the door or close the door.
In a heartbeat.
Let me jump in here, because I got a huge East Coast and West Coast family. Let me just say what he's saying when it comes to the name. He's talking about the example his father set and his father's father set, and now he sets. He's not talking about where the name might have came from.
Yes.
I know a lot of y'all are caught up in the names of slavery, and a lot of my Muslim brothers have gone and gotten their own names, which is okay. But we're saying whatever name you have and whatever name you choose, whether you keep the old name or get a new one, put some credibility to it with the lifestyle that you live every day, and bring that brand to the forefront. We go out and buy Nikes or Jordans or Adidas or whatever we wear because we know the brand. We know it's some quality. We've had it before. It's done us well on the court or out running. It hasn't given out. Whereas Bobos, you know what you don't get.
And if I may add, the whole thing about that was that we was taught, whether we was playing marbles, shooting baskets, or running a race, to be the best person that you can be at that time. So whether win, lose, or draw, you feel good with you because you gave your all and you was your best.
Yes.
That's right. Period.
You did the best person.
Yeah, I did it the tough way.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
The best person. Not the best athlete.
Yeah.
The best person.
That's it.
Yeah.
And this young father is something that's important that you want to pass on to your seeds. And hopefully these little tidbits and these little nuggets that we give out every week or so are helping as time goes by.
Yes.
Gentlemen, we're going to wrap this up. Tuck, thank you so much. I appreciate
you for having me.
Mileage, welcome. Thank you for having me.
Glad you're back, bro. Listen.
And I want to say again, please like, subscribe, and go to Ghost Williams' YouTube channel. And if you saw this on Facebook Live on one of our airs, that's fine too. We love you. We'll see you next week, same time, 2 p.m. God bless and have a successful week.
Love you and nothing you can do about it.
Black Father, the mini-series. Streaming every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. This mini-series is an attempt to bring more respect, more truth, more love and accountability into the home of the Black family and community. Black Father will help with a multitude of issues. Black Father, streaming every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. Black Father, the mini-series.